This is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Friday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio Studios in beautiful New Jersey, where Shorts Guy's at the mountaintop, and Vinnie Parise of pucksandpitchforks.com, coming to you live, the midway point, the heartland of the United States, Chicago, Illinois, as the Devils are going to take on the Anaheim Ducks in Anaheim. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Take it away, guys.
Yes, happy Devils Friday to each and every one of you. We are happy to have you joining us here on Game Day Live. Shorts Guy, how you doing today? The New Jersey Devils are getting ready to take on the Anaheim Ducks.
I'm doing great, Vinnie, and it's a West Coast game on a Friday night. We have two back-to-back West Coast games on weekend nights. That means I'm not, foregoing the game in order to get to bed for work. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. These night games are always interesting to me. It's like a weird feeling. 6 o'clock rolls around, and I know there are only 3 games tonight, but normally when there's a full slate and the Devils play a game against one of these California teams, I'm like, I actually kind of enjoy it. And maybe that's just me being a weirdo night owl, and some people got to get to bed for work. But it's a Friday, so it's good. I'm excited to see the Devils play against the Ducks, who are having a tough season. They have lots of skilled players that play for that team, and they could burn you at any moment. So acting like they're a bunch of nobodies will lead to you getting killed. But, you're playing against this Ducks team. It'd be a little surprising to me if the Devils don't skate with them hard and find a way to pull one off tonight. But what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it's a tough one. You're 100% correct. They have a lot of skilled players, but they're not doing very good. I was listening to some talk today about the Ducks are kind of in that tank for Bedard or lose for Bedard, whatever you want to call it. But because of their skilled players, it could be a potential trap game because they do have the ability. It's not like they haven't won. They've won 12 games this season, so they've been able to knock a couple teams off. Yeah, you just got to be careful. It hopefully, this is one of the must-win games we were talking about on Sunday night that the Devils needed to win. They got that win against Carolina earlier in the week. So now they have to go into Anaheim, and they have to just continue what they did on Tuesday night. And we've got a couple players that are skating again that have been on the IR for a little while, which is good to see. But you got to take this game just as seriously as you're going to take the game against the Kings tomorrow. Just have to assume that the Ducks are going to come out and they're going to want to do well in front of their home fans, and you have to be prepared for that.
Absolutely. And in the Devils' most recent game, it was a pretty big win over the Carolina Hurricanes, a game that they didn't really play all that well in, at least to start the game. And then all of a sudden they found their fire, and they were led by a guy named Dawson Mercer. And, I wrote about it for Pucks and Pitchforks, and we talked about it at length on multiple different shows this year. The more Dawson Mercer develops his game, the more dangerous the New Jersey Devils become as a whole, as a unit, because we know what they're going to get from their top players, who we're going to get to in just a minute. But, we know what they're getting from those guys. And if they get the defense plan that they always have, so far this year, and get pretty good goaltending from Vitek Vanacek, Mackenzie Blackwood, whoever it may be, if your secondary scoring is led by 21-year-old Dawson Mercer, not only are you thinking about where the Devils can go this season and, how dangerous they become to play against when secondary scoring has a true leader like that, but we're talking about the future too. And he's only going to get better as the years go on. He has 6 less points than Zegras, who's the Ducks' best player, and he plays significantly less minutes in a significantly lower role than Trevor Zegras. We could be talking about one of the great, second, third, middle 6 forwards in the NHL. He's only just begun.
Yeah, I would agree. And here we are talking, secondary scoring from a player with the skill that what was it? I think it was the game-winning goal he had, where he danced through 2 defensemen, went around the goalie, put it far against the goalie's left pad. That was just such a skill goal. It's insane. And here we are calling this secondary scoring, which that's a great problem to have. He has the skill to do it. He's just got to do it, a little bit more consistently. But man, was he a force against Carolina? And I'm hoping that he can do that again tonight. And yeah, to be just below Zegras with much less playing time shows two things. It shows what Dawson Mercer is capable of doing, and it shows just how much of a flop this Duck season is right now. That with Zegras is pretty much it's seeming like the lone man that can score for the Ducks. And he's just a couple points above some other teams' secondary scorers.
Yeah, and listen, this is no fault to Zegras at all. His line mates, I mean, him and Troy Terry. Troy Terry is the all-star. He's the Ducks' leading scorer. These two are going to be, premier scorers on this team for a long time. It wouldn't surprise me if each of them has 100 at one point in their career. They're just both so good. But, I think like Dawson Mercer being in that conversation with them, who Zegras is a year older, as Zegras 22, he might even be 21 himself. And so, he gets all the fame. He's on NHL 23, and well deserved. Zegras is very flashy. He's done the Michigan. He's definitely an eye candy type of player, a lot more than a Dawson Mercer is, or really the only player on the Devils that might be able to do those kinds of things is Jack Hughes, who in the last game didn't record a single point. And the Devils had all those goals. They won the game 5-3. And none of it came from Jack Hughes, who's their leading scorer by a lot. He's their best player on offense. You could make a claim for him being the best player on the team as a whole. But in my opinion, getting a game where you have a comeback win over a great team like that, one of the teams you're trailing nonetheless in the overall NHL standings, and your best player played well, but he doesn't contribute a single point. That, to me, speaks volumes on what the Devils might be able to do in games where he is going on the score sheet, in addition to when he's not. I think there's a lot of positives to be taken out of that scenario, that they played so well and he didn't even get a single point.
Yeah, that just shows the importance, one, of secondary scoring, which has dried up over this this skid the Devils have been in. But that's really what you want, because a player like Jack is not going to be able to score or record points every single game. It's just it is what it is. There's only one player in the league that can pretty much do it, and he's not a Devil. He's an Oiler, and that's McDavid. He's one of the only players that probably would be able to score every single game. You want to have that ability to get that for someone to come in and to pick it up where when Jack has an off game, because it's inevitable. That's just the game. That's the sport. Not every player can play, consistently every single game. There's going to be off nights. And the fact that we got that win without any points from Jack just shows that this, how good this team can be when this team is really firing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so you kind of touched on the Devils like slumping a little bit, right? They were pretty average to below average in December after just being dominant in October and November. But so far, since December 30th, the Devils are 4-1-1. And in January, they're 3-1-1. So here we are on January 13th, looking to play another game this month, and they're playing one of the worst teams in the NHL. Then they got the Kings tomorrow on the second half of a back-to-back. The Kings are pretty good, and not only are they pretty good, they're hot. And then you move on to San Jose, who has been also one of the worst teams in the NHL, minus their Norris Trophy winning defenseman. It's kind of a nice little bit of fresh air for the Devils here after just brutal game after brutal game. I mean, I know they lost to the Blues, but the Blues are hot and can't really look at their place in the standings because we know the pedigree of that organization, and they got a good win over the Red Wings, the Panther, or the Hurricanes, and the Rangers. Now you're playing a couple softer teams, but you have to bring that same intensity against teams that are weaker than you, because they're still NHL teams and will smoke you if you don't. But are you feeling a little bit better about the fact that they are 4-1-1 in their last, 6 games, or is there still another level that you can see them getting to?
I still think there's another level that they can get to, and yeah, I agree with you that these are games that they definitely should win. But what's also interesting and a little bit more tricky about these games is these are games against teams that they're not very familiar with. these are games against teams that they see once, twice a season at the max. So it's definitely going to be interesting. So even though that these teams are definitely below the Devils, standing wise, it's something that they still need to be very wary and be very prepared for, because they're again teams that they don't normally see, so teams that they're not used to playing. It's arenas that they're not used to playing in, which definitely makes a big deal as well. So you almost have to go into these next three games, with the mindset that these are teams that are above them in the standings, that they're going to have to play a real hard, strong game against, no matter who it is, just because of the lack of familiarity with it. And then let's not forget the end of this swing. What is it? Thursday? I think it is. They're going against Seattle, who just shut out Boston 3-0 last night. And we struggled against Boston. So we're going to end this trip with a really difficult away game in Seattle with the team that's doing very well right now. It's very unexpectedly very good right now is Seattle. So let's get these points tonight, hopefully tomorrow, and what is that, Tuesday against San Jose, I believe. Let's get these points right now, because I think the most difficult game of this trip is going to be again against Seattle. So let's collect the points, so we can collect them right now, tonight.
I thought it was
Tuesday.
Monday against San Jose. Martin Luther King holiday. 4 p.m.
Oh, he's right.
Oh, no. Yes,
he's right.
yes,
It's
you're
a day
right.
game.
You
That's
are
right.
correct.
I did know that.
It's like a 4:00 start. Yeah, so I'll definitely be able to watch that. But still, it's like tonight and Monday are definitely the games to get the points. Tomorrow could be a bit of a difficult game, because the Kings are not. The Kings are better than the Ducks and the Sharks. But collect these points now, because the Seattle game could be that difficult game of this swing.
Yeah, I agree. In Seattle, they kind of play with, a sense of freeness to them, if that makes sense, because nobody really had any expectations on them. They're an expansion team. It's the second year in the league. It was understood from the expansion draft onward that they weren't going to be Vegas. And, it is what it is. And then you come home and it's not going to get any easier because, as good as the Devils have been in January so far, they've gained nothing on Carolina, and they've barely created any separation between them and the first team out of the playoffs, which I believe is the New York Islanders, who lost yesterday to the Minnesota Wild. So, you got to keep finding ways to get points just to stay in this thing. And, it's a great test tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. One thing I do want to kind of briefly touch on a little bit before we get back to analyzing the game. The Devils posted a feature today in regards to Adam Henrique scoring that goal against the New York Rangers all those years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals, Game 6, to send the Devils to the Stanley Cup Final. Obviously, Henrique is a member of the Anaheim Ducks these days. He's one of the few players, from that Devils team in 2012 that still play in the NHL to this day. I'm trying to think of, the most of that roster. And Zach Parise is on the Islanders still. The Henrique is on the Ducks. Very few of those players are still active today. Does that goal?
Kovalchuk's still on the salary cap rolls.
Yeah, yes. Kovalchuk is still on the Devils salary cap, but there's another team paying him too. It might be the Kings. Someone's paying him too. Man, he stunk when he came back. But that Henrique goal, does it still give you the same level of chills? Is it? It's 11 years later.
Vinny, I'm going to say this unequivocally, yes. Sam and I were both there. We both saw it in person. Sam, I'm going to speak for you here. Or Sam, I'm not going to speak for you, because I'll let you kind of chime in at some point. But unfortunately, that goal was our Stanley Cup, because we obviously flopped against the Kings in the next round. But man, that goal, just being there and then seeing it, yes. The answer to your question is yes, yes, yes. It still gives you chills. It's still one of the best moments. The only thing better that I saw live in person was the cup raised in '95. But that, holy hell, that goal, just wild.
That's awesome. I appreciate that, because it does mean a lot to me still to this day. I mean, They scored in overtime. It was a minute in overtime. They blew a 2-0 lead. It kind of looked like they were going to lose, and then I think they would have been toast if they went back to Game 7 at Madison Square Garden. Personally, I know there are people who are going to hate me for that, but it just would have seemed like a horrible way to force Game 7 would be to lose that game that they had a 2-0 lead in overtime. I just don't see Game 7 going very well for you, for any team, especially against your rival. But, it also makes me so much hungrier as a fan for something similar to happen again. And if the playoffs started today, the Devils would play the Rangers in the first round.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That goal was really big too because it exercised the demons of the Mateau goal. And that's, to me, growing up, middle school, high school, all you heard from your annoying Ranger fan friends were Mateau. Shut up. That Henrique goal, the Henrique gets over call, just finally put all that Mateau crap to rest. It's like, yeah, take your Mateau and you can go beat it because you haven't won it since, and we've won it 3 times since. So just get the hell out of here.
Yeah, the Rangers have absolutely nothing on the Devils in terms of their franchise's history. Just because they're like a famous team that plays at a relatively famous arena, they think that matters. It doesn't.
It's a train station, dude. It's a train.
Yeah,
it's really.
Hey, I was there now.
Yeah.
I've been there now. I know.
You were
I
there.
understand that now. I do understand that now. That's not just a long-standing joke with me anymore. Like, I actually know what that is. I get what you're saying when you say that. But, the Devils, no person in their right mind would trade that fanhood over the span of the existence for the Rangers fanhood. So, Mateau, my toe hurts.
Mm-hmm. Well, and let's not forget that the only good scene in that really bad Godzilla movie with Matthew Broderick in it was when they blew up that dump. So that's always.
What about the
something to remember,
Batman?
too.
What about the Batman? Have you seen the Batman, the most recent one that came out? They destroy MSG at the end. Like, Batman fights. Batman fights the Riddler inside of Gotham Square Arena, or Gotham Square Garden. Yeah, you need to see the Batman.
Man.
I didn't spoil anything,
no,
but I didn't tell you how it ends.
No. I'll definitely have to check it out. But that's kind of been this running joke that we've had, especially with the Hockey and Tap guys. That was that scene, and just the Jets coming in and just smoking MSG just to kill all the Godzilla babies it's the only good scene in that damn movie.
That's awesome. You know the directors, like a Devils fan or an Islanders fan, and they're like, what we're gonna do here? We're gonna have Madison Square Garden blown to hell, and it's gonna be
explode.
Awesome. Yes,
Sammy used to have that clip at the ready, but I don't think he does anymore.
I don't know where that is. I gotta find it. I gotta find that kind of stuff. Because we, as the podcast grew, we morphed into a different system. So all those files from yesteryear are somewhere. So we'll have to resurrect some of the old, like the camel. The camel and the old camel
That's
scene.
funny.
Yeah, we'll have to resurrect that for our 500,000 party when we show old
hits.
clips,
The greatest hits.
the Mickey
Podcast
Mouse costume.
greatest hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it all started. You know what we should do for the 500,000 party? We should rebroadcast that first podcast that you and I did, or that first stream that you and I did from your house after the Devils blew the end of the season. When I came over that night.
That would be something. I mean,
oh man.
Yeah.
A kind of a look where we started and look where we are now. Oh wait, it's not much different, but whatever. We're still the same idiots.
It's not really different at all. Just more people listen now.
Yeah. More people listen to the same bunch of idiots.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I might as well be on camera now since I'm in on the conversation. I use one of the American whiskey templates. Anyway.
There you go.
I was thinking that a little bit. I'm like, Sam, why don't you just come on camera now? Like, you clearly want to be a part of this conversation. Yeah. Like, we want you, Sam. Well, now that you're here, Sam, I'm going to ask you guys, if you could pick one Devil to be voted into the All-Star game, who deserves it the most? I know, it's a tough one.
That's not named Jack, or doesn't matter?
Well, yeah, Jack's in. Jack's in. They have the final vote. The Metropolitan's going to add Jack. 2 skaters and a goalie.
Man. All right, so one Devil that's not named Jack, because Jack definitely deserves to be there.
Yeah, Jack deserves to be there. They didn't get every team's nominee right, but they got the Devils right.
You know what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to say VTech.
Wow.
I think VTech is one of the big reasons why the Devils have had a turnaround. I think the VTech contract was a steal of the summer, and I think VTech has shown us that I believe we finally have our goalie in VTech, because there are some games that he's just made some incredible saves and he's won the game for us. So I would say VTech.
That's a very good answer there. I mean, so a lot of people's favorite to win the goalie spot for the Metro is Ilya Sorokin, but I think Vitek Vanacek absolutely has a chance to be that guy, because Igor Shesterkin is the Rangers representative, so he's the Metropolitan Division goaltender as of right now. But Sam, what are your thoughts on this?
Eric Holla.
Nice. Nice.
I'm just kidding, dude. Don't take that seriously, because you know that's going to be like on Twitter somewhere. He doesn't know anything about hockey. He said Holla should have been an All-Star.
You love that, though, Sam.
I mean, Nico is an obvious choice. Brat as well. But, you know, would you consider Dougie Hamilton? He's on pace for 70 points? 70, 80 points?
I would say one of those four is like the Devils. Like, those are the guys getting the Twitter hashtag love that I've seen. There are a couple, weirdos who put stuff like Eric Holla as a joke. Like,
but John Marino, I think John Marino is having a better season than Dougie Hamilton, and Dougie Hamilton is not having a bad season at all. But because of Marino getting hurt, I don't know if he's going to get any attention or whatever. But from a defensive standpoint, I mean, he shut down a lot of guys, but I don't think he'll get the attention. It's a popularity contest as well.
Well, I was just going to say, and you know how it is. They're not putting a defensive a defensive defenseman's not going to get voted in. It's all about the flashiness and the points, and right or wrong, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, after his performance against Carolina, you could definitely make a case for Mercer too.
Yeah.
You
absolutely.
Make that case as well, but I mean, I stand behind what I said, that I think VTech would be deserving to go with what he's done for this team this year, because it's been his net as far as I'm concerned. Schmid's done well. Blackwood's been Blackwood, but I think the reason why we're here is because of VTech.
Absolutely. Really quick, Sam made me think of something. The Devils have played 41 games. Eric Hall has played in all of them. If you had to guess right now without looking, I don't know if you know off the cuff, how many points do you think Eric Holla has this season in 41 games?
I know he has one goal.
I'm thinking about
what 13, are 2 goals?
13 points.
I'm going to go just a little bit over you, Sam. I'm going to say 17.
Why? Is it because you're looking at the YouTube live?
No, Shorts guy's a little closer. He has 19 points in 41 games. He is on pace for 38 points. So if he could have just a slightly better second half, he could be a 40-point guy, which is like pretty good for his contract, his role on the team. And Eric Holla gets so much crap because he only has 2 goals, but he's got 17 assists, which means if his shooting percentage went up just a little bit in the second half, we could be talking about a 40, 50-point player. And if anyone said that Eric Holla was going to be a 40, 50-point player coming into this season, we would have taken it, because Zaka's never done that. So, the Eric Holla hate is one of the only things that, Devils Twitter argues about that I really don't understand.
I got to triple down. I got to get my butt in gear. I told Nick I was going to write an article about Eric Holla, that the Devils will win that trade by the end of the season, because I think Holla is going to be like Claude Lemieux and become an animal in the playoffs. I have a feeling, because he's doing all the little things right. It's just not going in for him. So, if he continues that push, he's on the line with Jack Hughes. But I'll tell you what, if if he continues what he's doing, eventually those goals are going to come. And then if he gets hot and gets a little confidence, and then towards the end of the season into the playoffs, I mean, Holla could be a scoring threat. I mean, people forget he scored 29 goals for the Vegas Golden Knights that year where they went to the Stanley Cup Finals in its first year of existence. People forget about that.
Yeah, and Pavel Zacha has 25 points in 41 games, so he's slightly over what Eric Holla is doing. I will say this. The line of David Krejci and David Pastrnak with Pavel Zacha, they call it the checkmate line because they're all checkmates. And, you know, that'll surplus anyone's point total, I think, right? Like, Holla plays with Jack Hughes, I get that, but it's Jack Hughes and the other winger rotates. So it's like Eric Holla's not in the same situation by any means.
Yeah.
Isn't Holla on the penalty kill a lot?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. So I've been thinking about this. Hearing that, I had heard that he was on the kill, and I want to say that Holla, even though he can't convert when he's given these opportunities, to me, I'm starting to see more and more that his role is more so as a defensive forward, so that Jack can just go do what Jack wants to do. And then there's someone like Holla who is there to pick up the defensive slack when Jack rushes the puck up and just does what Jack is good at, and that's trying to score.
Plus, he creates room. I mean, if you think about it,
he does create room. But I want to say that his role as that defensive anchor, so that Jack Hughes has that freedom to do whatever Jack Hughes wants to do, that to me, because we've talked about this on Sunday about talking about someone.
Shorts guy. Oh my goodness, we lost his feed. Brought to you by the Rangers Internet called Optimum.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Anyway,
Madison Square Garden Internet.
Yeah. Because I think on Sunday we were talking about someone that should start to learn how to take faceoffs to start playing with Jack. But more and more since, I'm really seeing the defensive forward value so that Jack can just be free to do whatever Jack wants to do.
And I have heard many people, and people I've trust have told me this, Jack wants Holla on the line. And who's really going to argue with him? Yeah, he definitely makes his life easier.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This is my gut instinct on Holla with Jack Hughes. It seems like right now, so far, the first half of the season, he may, because Jack's hockey IQ is so fast and so great that it seems like Holla is maybe a quarter of a second behind Jack, where, he's almost got that great play, but he's just a split second too late, or, over and over and over. But I'm telling you, come playoff time, when you've got that little extra oomph, and after playing a year with Jack Hughes, he's gonna make those plays. And we've got this recorded by me right now. Today is January 13th, 2023. So when everybody's on the Holla bandwagon, when he has 13 goals and 14 assists in the playoffs, and the Devils are just rolling, we could just play that clip about this conversation we had, praising Holla.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will take full, unapologetic credit for bringing that up and starting the conversation of praising Holla, and I won't feel even slightly sorry for it. Sam, do you think it's time we get to our predictions?
Yes, predictions. Hold on a sec. Hey, Mrs. Wu, you better record this for us. She's upstairs.
All of a sudden we hear in the camera, F you.
You're sleeping outside tonight.
Yeah. Hope you like the garage, buddy.
All right, Shorts guy. Before your internet drops.
Yeah, before my internet drops. All right, so I think that the Devils should beat the Ducks tonight. I'm going to say, coming off of that Carolina win, I'm going to go bold. 4-1 Devils victory.
Whoa.
Wow. I like that prediction. Yesterday, so my brother recently had a trip to Anaheim around Thanksgiving. He spent Thanksgiving in Anaheim, and he went to a Ducks-Rangers game. Rooted for the Ducks. He's on the Devils side when they're not playing the Bruins. I will give him credit for that. He roots for the Devils. Sam, you saw him only ever wearing a Devils jersey, so you got to give him a little credit for that.
Yep. He didn't want to get killed.
He laughed at me. Yeah, he didn't want to get killed. Last week, the Bruins put 7 up on the Ducks, and so he was wearing his Ducks sweatshirt that he bought in Anaheim yesterday. And I'm like, dude, take that off and don't put it back on till Sunday or till Saturday when the Devils are done with them. And he goes, dude, what do you care if I wear this for? If the Devils don't at least score a touchdown on the Ducks, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I was like, you know what, pal? Fair point. Touchdown Devils. I believe they will win this game 6-2.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
6-2.
Well, I'm a little worried about jet lag, but they've been out there for a while. They've been out on the road, so it's not like they just went cross-country and then playing the Ducks. They are a young team as long as they're hydrated. Remember Nico Hischier and hydration. I think it's going to be an evenly matched game for the first 30 minutes, and then the Devils are going to pull away. But I'm 6-4. I think the Ducks are going to put some. I think they're going to put some goals in, but only because the Devils weren't ready. And then once they get ready, and then they, the comeback kids they are, they're just going to come out with some unanswered goals, and they're just going to. So 6-4 Devils.
6-4.
Very good.
Now, let's not forget we have a member of the crew who will be at tonight's game, and it is not crew, but a member of the crew is there. We have Scotty of SiriusXM Liquid Metal that's in attendance tonight, and will hopefully be in attendance tomorrow, I believe.
Yes.
At tonight's West Coast Devils game against the Ducks.
Yeah, we still haven't discussed how we're going to do Devils After Dark if you're at the game. So we'll have to figure that out, Scotty, if you're listening right now. Hopefully he remembers he's got post-game afterwards, because otherwise yours truly will have to go solo, and I'll be talking the entire time.
It's not like doing it from your Jeep outside the Prudential Center.
Yeah, those are the good old days, Shorts Guy. But hey, you know what? We're late. We're supposed to be getting out of here. We're as late as the NJ Transit at the Madison Square Garden Penn Station. Arriving and leaving and all that kind of stuff. I want to thank all those tuning in, dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes. Scotty of SiriusXM Liquid Metal is at the game tonight. Go by and say hello to him. Devils After Dark, after the game. Recap the game that was. Thank you. And just a reminder, February 25th, we're still planning it right now, but save the date. It's going to be our big $500,000 party.
Mm-hmm.
$500,000 party. And we're bringing DJ Shelley as well. Already confirmed.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think some of the Hockey on Tap guys are going to try to come out too.
Especially Little Steve. He loves coming out to these events. Yeah. Anyway. Inside joke. Anyway. Thank you, guys. Dave Singer, Felix. Who else on the YouTube Live? Mike Rossi. Yeah,
Steven Engel.
Yeah. Rockwell Boses. Ray Leo still in traffic.
Ray Leo's going tonight, I believe.
Yeah, Honda Center. He's stuck in traffic, but all right, enough is enough. I got to get those chicken wings. Till next time, let's go Devils.